Hey, so I just want to record this quick thought on a video that I want to make about direction and also indirection, quite the opposite. So do we deal with a lot of indirections, and what is actually indirection in the first place, and what does it actually mean? So indirection is, well, from the word indirect, it means implicit, not straightforward, right? And when we usually communicate or provide a response of sort, we have the option to be either direct or indirect, right? And at the core of software, specifically within, well, object-oriented paradigm, the idea of indirection is heavily emphasized. Well, its other name is called abstraction, where you hide details behind any form of possible tool that whatever that object-oriented paradigm-based programming language provides you with. So it makes sense to really understand indirection because at the core, processes are this direction guidance mechanisms, right? So you could dump every process, every logic within a single file and run the process, right? Well, your program will simply run without any hitch. But there is a problem, or there is a core problem to that. Well, what the immediate thing that you might do is, hey, I can batch common, closely related routines into functions. This is one layer of abstraction, or sort of hiding it behind some form of tool that the language provides you with. So that means if you can be able to hide things, you should also be able to unhide them. So this means indirection is a very important thing. So is too much indirection good? Of course not. But having more indirection within your code could seem like a good idea, but it definitely goes against performance, right? You're instead of giving the result right away, instead of just returning the result right away, you are technically taking the context, the attention, basically switching the program and letting it focus on a different, could be memory box, or whatever region that is being consumed by that context. So what am I trying to say here? And it's never about the discussion whether indirection is good or bad, but initially when you create your code, especially within the industry, it is preferred to be direct rather than indirect. However, in school or whatever, you are generally thought to provide, be more indirect, right? Instead of providing the answer directly, how complicated can you make it before you actually provide the solution? But that's not it, right? So this is one thought that I wanted to record, simply because indirection is important. So for example, if you want to hide your implementation behind, so that you want to make sure that so let's say in access control, if you want to control the access to a specific variable, it makes sense to lock that variable's access, sort of, and not being able to manipulate the variable directly, and locking it behind a function where you can just request that function based on a few given parameters could be the go-to, because in that sense you want to control access to a given resource. So indirection definitely comes in handy, of course, by creating layers and layers and multiple hierarchies so that you have this controlled access. But at the core, control should be delivered when needed, right? So it really depends on type of use case or problem that you're going to be working on. But at the core, indirection really tends to be worse off in the industry rather than what we have been taught. So being direct, well, the world runs on business, right? So being direct, being really straightforward, being really giving the value when you're asked is really preferred. And also, it feels naive, right? There's no straight path, no linearities everywhere. But at the core, as software engineers, it is not really about introducing more indirection, but rather than reducing indirection. And really, at the core, it's reducing complexity and understanding whatever code that we threw off within our spaghetti base, and then basically taking that existing spaghetti, deconstructing whatever indirection that there is within that code base, and then finally providing a direct route. At the core, that is what an actual software engineering does, rather than just actually learning about indirection, thinking adding more indirection will help or sort of mean that being a software engineer is adding more abstractions or indirections. So that is what I wanted to record in the video. I will shoot more of this short form videos concepts so that I able to somehow explain it in a better way. But I think this was my thought. Indirection is, it can feel like the smartest thing to do when you're creating software, making it complicated or seemingly complicated so that you could hide everything behind some sort of interface, class, function. But at the core, it's about performance, and highly performant systems don't have a lot of complexity. Highly secure systems, on the other hand, have a high complexity, and there is a reason for that. Simply because, well, indirection is preferred right there, and security often comes with a performance cost where you have to do that trade-off often. So that's where the engineering part comes in. So the software part focuses on the indirection. The engineering part comes where you do the trade-off as an engineer to actually make sure you have the right subtle amount of indirection while still maintaining that direct path of execution. So I hope this video goes out to inspire you and help you understand what, why, and when you should add indirection and when you should eliminate it, so that you could have a better understanding of why you need to work with complexity at the core. That's it for today. I will record more. See you soon.